Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck tech involving a Lost Caverns of Ixalan commander. Going back in time a little bit, quite a while back, I did a whole week's worth of videos on Pauper, and I still kept my eye on Pauper. And I thought it'd be quite nice just to go back and do a Pauper Commander deck today, just for the fun factor. So, if you don't know the rules of Pauper Commander, your commander has to be uncommon, and everything else in the deck has to either have to have been printed at common at some stage, hence the name Pauper, because it's cheap. And this deck is everything that's been printed at common, and it is really all based around a creature who's been around before, who's been downgraded from rare to uncommon. And of course, I am talking about Captain Storm, Cosmium Raider. Blue and red for a 2/2 human pirate, and has a fun ability for Pauper Commander, I think. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under you control, put a +1/+1 counter on target pirate you control. A lot of artifacts that don't see play are common. They are quite good, and in Pauper they're exceptional. Plus, you've still got ways in common areas of creating treasure tokens. So, treasure tokens are an artifact. They come into play. You get to chuck a +1/+1 counter around. And it's not just once per turn. It's every time you get a treasure, or artifact, I should say, come into play, which makes this just really good. So, here we go. Here's the deck take. And this is, like I say, it's Pauper, so you're not going to have the usual selection of rares and ramp in here. So, it's a little bit different today. So, as always, start with the lands. It's very interesting. Command Tower is now being made common, so that works for Pauper. Then you've got Darksteel Citadel, which is an artifact, so trigger. You've got the two new caves from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, the Hidden Cataract and the Hidden Volcano, because it might be useful to get some of our stuff into play for free. Well, 5 mana and get something that's 4 or less. Hidden Lakes here, whole load of islands. The Boiler Works, the Izzet Guildgate, the Molten Tributary, followed by a whole load of mountains. Prismari Campus, just we can do a bit of scrying if we need to. Silver Bluff Bridge is one of the indestructible artifact lands that came from Modern Horizons 2. Yeah, there you go. So that's here, so that triggers, it's still an artifact. Skyline Cascade, just so we can tap something down if we need to. Terramorphic Expanse to go and find the things we're missing, colour we might be missing. The Autonomous Furnace is also here, just to draw a card if we need to. Surgical Bay, Thriving Island, Thriving Bluff. Now, you obviously could play the artifact lands from Mirrodin if you've got them. They are still common. However, they're getting really expensive on MTGO, so I haven't included them on here, but if you've got them in real life, chuck them in the deck, it's fine. Not much in the way of ramp. Unsurprisingly, we are in common after all, but Arcane Signet is now common, even though this is the uncommon version, there's a common version. Fellwell Stone is also common. Obviously, we've got the Fire Diamond and the Sky Diamond to give us that little bit of common coloured ramp. Izzet Signet is also here. Was originally obviously common. Mindstone, again, another common. That's my version's uncommon for some reason, but they are common. Because I did all this with the filter on for Pauper, so if MTGO's got it wrong, I'm really sorry. Thought Vessel, again, another one, no maximum hand size, add 1, so a bit more ramp. Ashnod's Altar apparently was common at some stage. I didn't know this either, but hey, it's there. Where are we? And the last bit, there you go, Pristine Talisman, that's what I was looking for. That was definitely common, although this is the posh one from Brothers War. So what I'm trying to do is obviously get Captain Storm down, turn 2, make sure there's some other pirates around, and then start dropping down some artifacts to make sure we can make them bigger. Don't forget, you can make Captain Storm bigger itself. It says it's not put a +1/+1 counter on target pirate you control. It doesn't say other target pirates, so treasure counters come into play, or whatever artifacts come into play, we can put the +1/+1s on Captain Storm if we want to and try and win that way. So I've cheated. I've gone really cheap with some of the artifacts. So we'll start at the beginning. Accorda Shield, Bone Sword, Cather Shield, Everflowing Chalice is technically ramp, but it's also here to trigger Captain Storm. Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker, Shield Sphere, and Spider Silk Net are all here because they've all been printed at common. Memnite hasn't been, as far as I'm aware, hence why it's not here. So we've got all these, and 0 mana. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? 8 0 drops. Okay then. In the 1-drop slot, we've got a Beamtown Beatstick. Whenever the equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has menace, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, create a treasure token. Turn 2 this, turn 3 this, equip, attack. You have a 4/3 ready for the next turn, maybe. Fanatical Firebrand's just one of the pirates we're hoping to get the +1/+1 counters on because it's cheap to play. And if need be, we can ping someone. Impulsive Pilferer is good fun. It's a pirate, so, you know, again, another 1-drop pirate to get some tokens on. But when this dies, we get a treasure token, which as long as we've got Captain Storm in play will trigger. And then we get to do the Encore thing, where we get a copy back for each opponent we still have, attack with them, and when they die, we get 3 treasures, which means 3 +1/+1 counters. Enjoying it so far. Bone Splitter, just a cheap piece of equipment, along with Hunter's Blowgun. +1/+1 as long equipped creature gets death touch long short turn, otherwise it has reach. That's pretty good going. It's not bad, but it's another cheap artifact. Kitesail Corsair is one of the pirates we're hoping to chuck the +1/+1 counters on and get the attacks in the air. Oaken Siren, just another way of casting our artifact spells if we need the mana to do it with. Also another flyer that has vigilance, which is a fantastic target for the +1/+1 counters. Pirate Hat, it just gives another bit of equipment that's there. It's an artifact, and whenever a creature attacks, you draw and discard, and it's really cheap to equip to a pirate at 1 mana. Shipwreck Looter, you have to attack. There's a few creatures in here that have raid, and raid, if you remember, you have to attack before this happens. If you attack this turn, you may draw a card and discard a card. That's fine, 2/1 for 2, cope with that. Shipwreck Sentry has Defender, and as long as we get an artifact into the play this turn, we get there and go through it and can attack. So it didn't have Defender. So 3/3 with for 2 mana that we'll be dropping artifacts for. Yeah, okay then. That sounds good. Bespoke Battle Garb, another cheap piece of equipment. Not worried so much about the celebration bit, but it does give us a way around of equipping it cheaply if we need to. Fathom Fleet Firebrand, just a pump creature that's 2 mana bear, which we can do a kind of expensive fire breeding with if need be. Goblin Trailblazer, 2 mana, 2/1 with menace. Helps get some +1/+1 counters on here, it's harder to block. Arcane Signet, I've talked about all of these, I think, apart from Mere Retriever. Comes in when it dies, we get another artifact from our graveyard back to our hand if something's died. Maya gives us another artifact when it dies. We get Phyrexian Mere artifact creature token. So, you know, that still triggers. Artifact enters the battlefield under your control. And Vial of Dragonfire, just a nice little way of, you know, pinging something that may have pro red, pro blue. There's a few creatures at common that do this. Burdened Aerialist enters the battlefield, gives us a treasure token, hopefully with Captain in play, so he comes into play as a 4/2 because you put the +1/+1 counter here. Captain of Umbar is from Lord of the Rings. It's a draw and discard, but it's also a pirate, so another target for our +1s. Rishadan Cutpurse. Who remembers this one from Mercadian Masks? Enters the battlefield, each player sacrifice opponent, let's say pay 1. It's quite a nice way of getting rid of annoying things. Sailor of Means just gives a treasure token, so it's an instant trigger. Siren Lookout enters the battlefield, we get to explore, which is nice. You get something in your hand or you get another land, that's fine. Still a pirate, so it's got a nice target. Trove Tracker, not one you want to put your +1/+1 counters on, because realistically, if you're not worried if this dies, because you get the card draw. And then it's also got Encore. Expensive Encore, but it has got it. Brazen Blade Master attacks while you control 2 more artifacts against +2/+1, so it becomes a 4/4 for 3 mana most of the time when you're attacking with this deck. Hotfoot Gnome. I put this in because it's a cheap artifact. Well, cheapest artifact, but it does give some of your creatures haste. I know it's not pirates, you can't put the +1/+1 counters on it, but I think it might be okay in this deck, just a quick way of giving haste. The Idol of the Deep King is just another way of getting some damage in the deck, and if we can flip it into a piece of equipment, it might be useful. Patron of the Arts, again, not a pirate, but enters the battlefield, you get a treasure, and when he dies, he gets a treasure. Gotta love a patron who does that for you. Plundering Pirate enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token, +1/+1 counter target. Swaggering Corsair, if you got raid, if you've attacked this turn before this enters, it comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. So, should be coming as a 3/3 for 3, which is good value. Ashnod's Odds, I've mentioned already. You can sack some of your creatures off if you need the mana for some reason. Cartographer's Companion. It's the battlefield, you get a map token, so you know, a couple of artifacts off this one to trigger Captain Storm. Filigree Familiar, just a bit of life gain, a card draw, and a trigger. And Foundry Inspector, we have a lot of artifact spells. Let's make him a little bit cheaper. I know there's a few non-pirates in the 3-drop. I know that people are going to get upset, but there's still things that we need here. I didn't realise that Azure Fleet Admiral, all the times I've played it in other decks, was actually common, and that's a nice way to get the monarchy in a Pauper Commander. Deadeye Rig Hauler, just bounce something once you've attacked. Wayland Pirates, if you control an artifact, tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls, put stun counter on it. That's pretty good. Gets big quite easily. Talentus Lookout, another flyer. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, one in your hand, the other in your graveyard. Big score for the card draw and the treasure token creation to trigger this. Brazen Buccaneers comes into play, explores. So it should be a 3/3 with haste for 4 mana with a bit of luck. And Brazen Freebooter comes into play for 4 mana for a 3/3 that gives you a treasure token and a trigger from the captain. Crimson Fleet Commodore, I did know was a common, and there's another one that makes you the monarch, but it is also a 5/2 pirate with trample. So you really want to play this and make sure you've got a way of getting an artifact or 2 into play afterwards to get its toughness up, because it does die quite quickly, and if you can get your toughness up to about 4, you're probably going to be fine playing this card. Young Red Dragon. Yeah, Bathe in Gold for an instant gives us a treasure, so it's kind of like a little combat trick, kind of. If you're attacking with Captain Storm and you need to pump one of your pirates quickly, because it's going to die if you don't pump it, this gives you a nice way of getting a treasure token, which gives you a trigger, which might save your creature. Same with Unexpected Windfall and Brig's Score, I suppose, to a certain degree, but people seem to don't play those during combat. Can't imagine why. You probably will in this deck. Prosperous Pirates, double treasures, so double triggers from Captain. And a Rapacious Dragon, a nice flyer in the air. Double trigger again, so you can make it a nice 3/3, pump up a couple of your pirates quite happily. Boarding Party, 6/3 with haste and cascade. Not going to complain about that. And finally, just because I had a slot left and I couldn't think of anything better, which I'm sure someone here can let me know. Mere Enforcer, affinity for artifacts. Should come down for 1 or less mana, I think, most of the time with this deck. And that's it. That's my little cheap version, Pauper version of Captain Storm, Cosmium Aradia. I think you can build this one particularly as a really good full-on EDH deck. You know, probably 6-7 power level. You can make this a lot better. I may look into it and do a follow-up video later on about it. But at the moment, that's it for the Pauper deck today. Hopefully, you've hit the little subscribe button that's here. I'm sitting at 282 followers as I record this one. I'd really like to try and hit 500 by the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen. 300 is probably realistic. So hopefully, people will subscribe and enjoy the content. I hope you like seeing my face on the new thumbnail as you're going through and scrolling through YouTube this morning. Hopefully, we're going to try and get some more of my moderators on the Twitch stream to build a couple of Pauper Commander decks, so you might see this being played somewhere. There's a link down below in the video description along with the deck list for the Twitch stream, so you can come and give me a follow over there. That'd be lovely. And that's it for now. Thank you ever so much for being here, watching the video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with yet another one. Take care. See you soon. Bye.